mine. What do you feel?
I'm Isa from Harvest Point Ministries. Right now, I'm wondering how many of you are working from home, how many of you were taken away from their jobs and forced to be on leave at this time, or how many are actually used to being at home but we're not used to having everybody around. Because now more than ever, we are faced with the daily struggle what to do with our time. And this leads us to feel bored, stressed, some of us are anxious, some of us are tired, worn out, or some of us are even confused. And right now, I'm given that privilege, or by the grace of God, to talk about and attempt to share how I go through this struggle and how we can face it. Starting off with T for trust. Trusting that this is part of God's perfect timing. As much as it's difficult for us to understand, we don't know what can happen to us, but it is indeed part of that plan. And I hope we have that unyielding and unwavering confidence that this too is part of God's perfect timing. John 16 reminds us to take heart because He has overcome the world and COVID is no exception. He has overcome COVID and He will overcome all of these struggles, and this is part of what He wants us to learn. Who else to know better how to use our time than Jesus Himself? So let's trust on what God is trying to teach us today. So we move on to intention. For I. So intention is all about waking up and thinking about what I want to achieve today. What are my goals today within the same 24 hours that's given to everybody else? With intention, think about what we love. Think about what's important to us. Pedro Arrupe, the author, shares that what we love, what seizes our imagination, will affect everything. But how come sometimes we still do not spend time on people we love? We do not spend time on people or things that we care about. Let's try to change that with intention and not just be swayed with what's available, what's close to us, what's very easy to achieve. So with intention, try to talk to that friend of yours who might need your help right now, or to that good leader you're seeing on social media who's doing really well. Encourage a family member who might be going through something. There's a friend we see on social media doing well, we reach out to them. Because we're not able to use that normally, right? As much as we're doing social distancing, I hope we're not emotionally distancing ourselves from people. So make it an intention to do something every day for people and things that we care about. And we're moving on to M for managing what we can. Because during this time, it's an unprecedented time of things we cannot control. When the quarantine will end, when will we know what's gonna happen to the Philippines or to the other nations? When our Dole 5,000 is gonna be released, or when DSWD is gonna send us more money, we don't know. So let's focus our time on what we know, which is that God is here for us. To be able to make use of our time well, because we're creatures of habit and we try to force things that we're used to, right? Let's try to build a routine. And this is what UNICEF shares every single day. Let's try to still wake up at the same time, put a routine on when we eat, what to do in the entire day, so that there's a sense of normalcy for that day. For Stanford, they share that to be more productive, you find a space that's only yours. It doesn't have to be an entire room, but a space that only you can touch and manipulate. It has to be something that you're more comfortable with. If you have kids in the house, give them also that sense of routine and their space so that they don't feel that there's no more normalcy in their life, because it affects them a lot as well. Forbes now shares, this is from Jennifer Kem, what they call ROI. For most of us in business, ROI is return on investment, but for them it's return on impact. So that we do not lose our momentum of productivity during this period. So there's 3 C's that they shared. It's connection. Let's not lose connection from other people. And that's also what I said earlier about not being emotionally distant. Second is community. Let's not be detached from our community. Who can we help? Who can we reach out to? What's happening among people around us, right? And lastly, creativity. If you can have the means, tap what you can, tap the creativity inside you and in people around you, and even in kids. So those are the 3 C's that they shared. But ultimately, if you've built a routine, you want to be productive, but they're not building up to what you want them to be gentle with yourself. Again, manage only what we can. And Ephesians reminds us, be kind to one another as well. There are studies popping up that violence and anger is building up in families because they're stuck under one roof. I hope that we come to God and give Him the struggle of being under one roof with the same people every single day. Be forgiving. Ephesians reminds us to be tender-hearted and forgiving. Find time to care for yourself and for others. Rest with God. Because the rest that God gives doesn't amount to anything else in the world. It's invaluable, and I hope that we really spend time caring for ourselves and resting with God. And finally, embrace the gifts of today. Socrates reminds us to beware the barrenness of a busy life. Because often, we relate busyness to purpose. If we're busy, we exist. But truthfully, we can find so much joy and so much peace in knowing that we can rest at this time. It depends on what you think this is God's purpose for you right now. You find that time to talk to God. What is this season for me? For some, it may be a season of waiting. For some, it may be a season of rest for the rushed soul. Or it may also be a season for productivity. Whatever it is, it's part of the intricate plan of God. So let's ask ourselves, because I also ask it myself, what beautiful thing can I do today? Because we can be so excited for this to end. But when we think about it, what did I do during this time? Did I use my time thinking about tomorrow? Am I too anxious about tomorrow? God always reminds us not to worry because He feeds the birds. So how about us whom He loves so much? Cliche as it may be, let's live in the today. Because when we feel so tired, when we're too busy, and we come to Him, He will give us that rest. So firstly, we trust that this is God's perfect plan, perfect timing. With intention, we do things to reach our goals day after day. Manage what we can, let go of what we can't control, and be gentle with ourselves. Embrace the gifts of today. There's so many things that I've shared to you today, but hopefully we leave it, even just those 4 things. And I hope we make the most of what we can. Whatever the season is for you right now. I pray that everybody is well and safe, and I pray that I was able to share a tiny bit of what I've been going through and what I can share with you guys. Thank you so much for listening and for spending a bit of your time with me. And thank you so much again for continually supporting Harvest.
Seeing eyes of mine, what do you feel beside? I don't know where we're gonna fly like you did sometimes. Seeing